And on this week's Biz Buzz segment, I am joined by KZ and Colleen, and we are going to talk a little bit about the importance of marketing when it comes to writing and publishing your book. So, this week, we're going to just go over some very, very, very high level things about marketing and why it is important for you to market your book. We say that you should market your book before you even begin writing. However, if you haven't started marketing yet, it's never too late to start. So I want to turn it over to, I'm going to go to KZ first and just ask her why is marketing so important when it comes to writing and publishing a book?
Thanks, Peter. It's interesting because for most writers, the marketing is not intuitive. It's not something that comes easily. So it's part of the job that we have to look at early because we tend to put it off because we don't want to do it. It's important because if your goal is to write a book and have it be read by other people, you have to have those people know that you wrote it. Now, writing is a solitary, it really is a solitary, and there's no other way to say that. Is writing is what is you sitting down, putting your thoughts on paper, so to speak, and it's up to you also to take the time and put together what message you need to put out so that people will want to read what you're writing.
That's so important. I know Colleen and me were talking with a gentleman a few years ago, and he thought that all he needed to do to market his book was to put it on Amazon. He thought, oh, my book's on Amazon, so that means everyone's going to be able to find it and see it and know about it and read it. And lo and behold, no one read his book, and he was really confused as to why anyone would want to write a book and put it on Amazon. Well, we had to, gently remind him that it doesn't matter if you just put it out there for sale if nobody knows what your book's about, or that you even have a book. No one's going to want to be able to read it.
That's absolutely true. And the thing is, we say this often, your book is a business, so treat it as a business. And that's a perfect example of why we say this. You must create a marketing plan. You must start that marketing plan early, possibly before you write, but certainly while you're still writing your first draft. And you must implement that plan before you publish.
That's so true. I'm going to turn it over to Colleen here, and I want to ask her, um, when it comes to the marketing side of things, what are some ways that an author might be able to market their book and let other people know about it?
Well, that's a great question, Peter. And since we're talking high level, we can go into some of these in more depth at a later show. But we were talking about Amazon. An Author Central Amazon page is essential for people to set up and put together for marketing their book. Press releases are a great way to get people excited about your book throughout the process. An author website, even if it's a landing page telling people about their book or any speaking engagements they might have. Those are three of the top ways that for marketing that I think of. There's always the social media, but those three ways are top of mind for me when it goes to telling people about starting to market their book. What about you, KZ? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with all of those. And let me add one. I think that, and this is perhaps one of the more difficult steps for many authors to take, but very important. I think it's create a list. You're writing a book, you want people to begin to read it, you want them to like it. If they like it, you want them to leave a review so others will be encouraged to read the book. And you want to stay in touch with the people who are reading your book. So one of the key components of your marketing campaign will be to learn about how to create mailing lists and how to manage the networking and associated with managing a mailing list and build fans. You got to build fans.
That's great. And you know what else I just thought of when you said build the list is finding testimonials or reviews for your book. So
Yes.
people can can complement the book, put that information out there. Those are great marketing tips for your book.
Yes, absolutely agree.
And I do want to add one other way to promote yourself and your book is doing what we're doing right now and hop on a podcast with someone. There are so many different podcasts out there that you can be a guest on to spread the word about you and your book. If you're an author who is a fiction writer, there are plenty of fiction podcast. If you are a nonfiction writer, there are probably as many podcasts out there for each individual topic that you can think of. So, there's plenty of ways to reach your reader before your book is ready to be on sale so that they're excited and want to go and buy your book. I think that the most important thing that authors can do, or maybe not important, but one of the ways that you can tell that your marketing is really working is how can you reach the most people with doing the least amount of work.
I
We
like that.
I mean, think of it like this. I mean, if you have, let's just say we're talking about mailing lists. Let's just say you have 100 or 200 people on your mailing list. That's great that you can go and reach those people with an email. But hey, if you spend 30 minutes and you hop on a podcast with a host or a show that has, thousands of listeners, I don't know. It's probably going to be a little more fruitful than just sending out an email to the same 100 people that you have on your list.
Absolutely.
That's great, Pete. Yeah, excuse me, Candy. That's great, Peter. And you know what? When you're talking about the podcast, that's how we teach people to make their book their business also, because you can use your book as a tool for your speaking engagements and people will find out about you there.
These are great tips.
Yeah, that's great. I think that once you are an author, you become a speaker, and the two kind of feed off of each other. So the more you write, the more speaking engagements you get, and the more speaking engagements you get, the more people know about you and your book, and you want to tend to write more to reach those audiences in different ways. So they can really be. It's a really it's like a symbiotic relationship between being an author and being a speaker. I think they're really actually not two separate things. I think they're pretty conjoined as a field of work, if you will. Now, I know we've talked and covered some very high level things today, but I didn't know if there was any. Let me ask this to both KZ and Colleen. What would be your number one tip for marketing a book? I'm going to turn it over to KZ first.
Peter, I just don't. I think that the number one tip. I really don't have a number one tip. The importance of marketing is too critical to say just one. Mm. It is creating a plan. I guess if I had to nail it down to one, it would be make a plan. Mm. Be deliberate, be professional, and learn what goes into it. And don't get boiled down into the details. Stay high level, get your plan, and enact it so that it works for you.
That's really great. I really agree with making a plan and making that be your number one tip. Colleen, do you have a tip that you would like to share with our listeners?
Probably going on what Candy and you just said, but putting yourself out there. Authors can't be afraid to put themselves out there and just spread the word. And however that works for you, through your marketing plan, through a podcast, through your website, whatever it is, but just not being afraid to put yourself out there and share that story so it will benefit others.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I think the one thing that I would say is really get to know your reader. You can't just it's important to, like KZ said, make a plan, and Colleen said to put yourself out there, but you also you can kind of combine the two of those and make sure that you're putting yourself out there to the people that actually want to read your book and not just spouting off words to no one who's listening. So, those are some great tips. I want to thank both of you for joining me today on the Biz Buzz segment. And we will be back next week with another Biz Buzz.